This week we're going to be talking about sequencing again, and I hope you remember a little bit about sequencing from last week when you listened to Pete the Cat rocking in my school shoes. We're going to read another Pete the Cat book this week. I think you're going to enjoy it. But before we get to that, let's practice our sequencing hand motions just to make sure we remember. All right, mirrors on. Sequencing, putting things in order. First, next, then last. Mirrors off. Great job. Now remember, sequencing, just like we just said, is when you put things in order. Because if we don't put them in order, it's going to get really confusing. And remember, last week we talked about making a bowl of cereal, how we had to get the bowl first before we put the cereal and the milk in. Because we forgot the bowl, we were going to make a really, really big mess. And it's the same thing with reading. We need to put things in order so that it makes sense. So here's the slide you will see again this week. Just tells you what sequencing is. There are still some videos here if you would like to watch them on sequencing. There are still some books over here if you would like to click on them and listen to them. But right now I'm gonna flip screens and we're going to listen to someone read Pete the Cat, I Love My White Shoes. Let's see if Miss Cassie can get our screen flipped over. All right, here we go. Make sure my volume is so you can hear. All right. Pete the Cat, I Love My White Shoes.
Pete the Cat was walking down the street in his brand new white shoes. Pete loved his white shoes so much, he sang this song. I love my white shoes. 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 Oh no! Pete stepped in a large pile of strawberries. What color did it turn his shoes? Did Pete cry? He kept walking along and singing his song. I love my red shoes. 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 I love my red. Oh no! Pete stepped in a large pile of blueberries. What color did it turn his shoes?
Now let's make a prediction, just like we did last week. Do you remember what a prediction was? A prediction is when we take the clues that we just listened to and we make a guess about the answer to the question. So if he stepped in a large pile of blueberries, what color do you think his shoes turned?
Did Pete cry? He kept walking along and singing his song. I love my blue shoes. 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 I love. Oh no! Pete stepped in a large puddle of mud. What color did it turn his shoes? Did Pete cry? He kept walking along and singing his song. I love my brown shoes. 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 I love my brown. Oh no! Pete stepped in a bucket of water, and all the brown, and all the blue, and all the red were washed away. What color color were his shoes again? White. But now they were wet. Did Pete cry? Goodness, no. He kept walking along and singing his song. I love my wet shoes. 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 The moral of Pete's story is no matter what you step in, keep walking along and singing your song because it's all good.
All right. So Miss Cassie is going to step over and grab the book, and we're going to do a quick book walk. And while we're doing that quick book walk, I want you to think about sequencing. What did Pete step in first? What color did his shoes turn? What did he step in second, and what color did his shoes turn? Okay, so let Miss Cassie step in over. All right, so Miss Cassie went and got our book. So let's take a quick book walk through Pete the Cat, I Love My White Shoes. Now remember sequencing. Let's think about what he stepped in first, what color his shoes were, and all that. All right, here we go. Quick book walk. All right, here's Pete the Cat at the beginning. Got his shoes at the end of the book. All right, so that was just a quick walkthrough. Now let's look at sequencing. I think I'm going to use yellow. Let me get this a piece of paper. Now let's think about sequencing. Let me turn this around just a tad. There we go. Sequencing Pete the Cat. Let's talk about what happened first. What happened first in that story? What did Pete step in first? Well, let's go back even farther. What color were Pete's shoes at the very beginning of the story? White. Very good. They started off as white. So Pete's shoes were white. Now let's talk about what happened next. What happened next in the story? Very good. Pete stepped, in strawberries.
Sherry cow.
Pete stepped in strawberries, and we know when he stepped in strawberries, what color did his shoes turn? Red. Very good. So first, Pete's shoes were white. Next, Pete stepped in strawberries and turned his shoes red. What happens then? What did he step in next? Very good. He stepped in blueberries. So Pete stepped in blueberries. And what color did his shoes turn? Blue. Very good. We're going to move up to last. So what did Pete step in last? Very good. He stepped in mud. And what color did his shoes turn? Brown. Very good. Now there's one more thing that he stepped in, but Miss Cassie ran out of room, so I cannot write it on this paper. But first, Pete's shoes were white. Next, Pete stepped in strawberries and turned his shoes red. Then Pete stepped in blueberries and turned his shoes blue. Last, Pete stepped in mud and turned his shoes brown. But there was one more thing after that we can't fit on this paper. What did he step in after he stepped in the mud? Water. And then what happened to his shoes after they stepped in water? They got all clean, but then they were wet. But did he worry? Goodness, no. Because Pete said it was all good. Now, that was some more sequencing practice. You are going to go over and to Seesaw and practice some more sequencing just like you did last week. And if you need help, just let me know.